What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. Now, a couple of things I want to get into. One, I'm going to address some things that was said, some questions that was asked, rather. Nothing directed at me, disrespectful, nothing like that. But I'm going to get into this because explanations, all right? Look, one of the things was about Dillian Whyte getting his shot at the WBC, okay, heavyweight world championship. There's mixed feelings, okay, about Dillian Whyte. And what I'm explaining to people, it's not a point of whether you like Dillian Whyte or not. That doesn't matter. You can hate Dillian Whyte, although I don't know how people get so caught up into this. I don't like this person like you know them personally, but it's not about if you like Dillian Whyte or not. The man deserved a shot. Now, for those of you saying, well, he's a bum fighter, which is bullshit. It's your opinion, but it's bullshit. He hasn't beaten anybody. What has he done? He hasn't beaten anybody. You obviously haven't been watching Dillian Whyte, and you don't know what his resume is. And the only loss on his record is to who? Anthony Joshua. So, the man has been #1 contender, and I clearly remember them saying that he was mandatory. Somehow that turned into, oh, he was #1 contender, not mandatory. And it's been long overdue that he should get his shot. For you, for those of you that say he should not get a shot, he doesn't deserve it. Then if Dillian Whyte doesn't deserve the shot at the WBC, then who deserves it? Who? You guys say that Daniel Dubois is not ready yet. He's too green, which I think he's more ready than you guys realize. You say Joe Joyce is not good enough. He's not championship material. Okay. Alexander Usyk just comes up out of nowhere and becomes mandatory from one weight division to the next, and he's done nothing as a heavyweight. I mean, we know Efe Njama is not ready. Yeah, a guy that can punch. We just keep thinking somebody can just land a shot, boom, world champion. Okay, but it's more than just landing a punch. Who? Oscar Rivas? I mean, who? If Dillian Whyte, who? Derek Chisora? Who deserves that shot then? Because if you're not going to fight Dillian Whyte, okay, whether it's Fury or Wilder, who ends up, after their third fight, well, if they fix up that mess, whether they fight or not, whatever's going to happen, if Fury doesn't fight Wilder and he fights anybody, it should be Dillian Whyte. Okay, so if not Dillian Whyte, who do you want to see Fury fight? Who? And he's supposedly mandatory now. And even Mauricio Sulaiman finally says whoever wins the fight between Fury and Wilder has to fight Dillian Whyte. So who? That means he's just going to pick and choose, or let's see who's the next challenger in line. No, why not fight Whyte? This is crazy. Okay. Dillian Whyte, for example, with the one loss to AJ, look at who else he's beaten. I mean, he beat Derek Chisora twice. He beat Joseph Parker. He's beaten everybody that they put him in front of. Now, if he beats Povetkin, okay, that's another great name on his resume. But at the same time, people are going to say, oh, but Povetkin's in his 40s now. Oh, same people who want to see Floyd come back and fight Pacquiao. Same people who want to see a 40-plus-year-old Layla Ali come back and fight Clarissa Shields. The same people that's hyped up to see a 54-year-old Mike Tyson come back and fight Roy Jones. So, who deserves the shot? This is not about who you like. I want to see AJ beat everybody he fights. And I'm saying, I think Dillian Whyte deserved that shot at that WBC before AJ unifies, have the unification match. I think he deserves that shot. This is not about who you like or don't like. It's not about that. So just because you like a fighter and you say, well, he should get the shot, and no. I mean, no. Look, there's a lot that you got to look at. Again, This is not about who you like. This is about who's deserving. Dillian Whyte deserved that shot. Okay? Derek Chisora is supposed to fight Alexander Usyk. Now, if Usyk lost that fight, nobody wants to see him and AJ after that. So if Usyk lost, shouldn't Derek Chisora get the shot that Usyk was going to get? Because the term mandatory was attached to Usyk's name. Now you just get beat by Derek Chisora. Well, here's the thing. How many people really want to see Derek Chisora fight AJ? But at this point, if that was to happen, it's not about what you want, who you like. No, it's like, no, he earned that shot, man. He earned that shot. This is not something you just eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This is not what this is. Even though that seemed like that's what's been going on for a long time, but at the same time, no. See, this stuff has to stop because, first off, it's wrong. But then you wonder why people, they always want to make a comparison when somebody else gets a shot. But what about that guy? Well, he shouldn't get it because that guy didn't get it. Remember this and remember that. And it just becomes a big petty, let's point the finger at everything. A lot of these fights are not happening because they want to do it in front of a big crowd. I get it. And I've seen some events in empty arenas and it doesn't have the same feel to it, no. But let's be realistic. How long do we have to wait? Because we don't know how long this pandemic is going to go on. And it can hurt the fighters as well because it's one thing to train for a common goal. Okay, I got to fight February 5th, so I know I got to be ready. Now you're just training to keep in shape. You're just training. But, you know, to get that mindset back, I mean, it's there. It should be right there. But it can hurt. It can hurt. It might help. Who knows? But to keep waiting is not helping. Waiting for what? The longer you prolong this, and then you got fights that's supposed to happen, then it's postponed, it pushed back again. So we don't know, you know, how long this thing is going to go on. But for us to just keep waiting and waiting to get to a level where we should be here by now, but now pandemic is going on, it's like we're here. Nothing's changing. So for the fights that's been confirmed that we know have a date and time that, okay, this is going to happen, fine. That's beautiful. But we're talking about who deserves the shot, not who we want to see get the shot because we like that fighter better. That's not what this is about. Now, if you look at the heavyweight landscape right now, nobody cares about Pulev versus Joshua, like, oh, this is a mega fight. No, he's a mandatory. Now, people criticize the Usyk fight because they were saying, oh, he's a cruiserweight that came up to heavyweight. Well, wasn't Evander Holyfield? Didn't he do the same thing? And didn't people in Usyk's defense say the same things? Well, Holyfield was a cruiserweight, and look at what he did. So how come you think Usyk can't do the same thing, right? But now, because for people that want to discredit AJ, saying, oh, he's fighting a cruiserweight. Even Holyfield made some type of mention like, but, you know, for him to fight that guy. No, man. Stop it. We need to have the fights. People that earned these, they've earned their spot. Some people get lucky because you can have a top 10 and the champion might choose the number 5 guy or the number 6 guy, right? But you're in the top 10. Upset can happen, you know. But who do we want to see? Of course we want to see AJ and Fury. Of course we want to see that fight. Personally, I don't really care for Wilder and Fury 3. Personally, me, I don't care for a third fight. We've seen this dance twice already, and with all this glove gate nonsense, I know there's a lot of people that feel like, okay, if Fury put the final nail in the coffin and beat Wilder, all the glove gate, all the poison with all these excuses just make them that look that much worse. And that, see, that's the personal side of things that people are looking at. But from a competitive standpoint, I'm just not intrigued by this fight. I really don't care to see it. That's just me personally. Now, if it was a mandatory situation where like, or like a thing where like, okay, well, it's in the contract, but this was a verbal, just an agreement. There's no dry ink about a third fight. which is why Fury can say, you know what, nah, you guys are talking about postponing, and Fury doesn't want to just wait. He's talking about a tune-up fight. But for who? You understand what I'm saying? Because he needs to fight Dillian Whyte, man. That's what I would rather see. I would rather see Fury and Dillian Whyte, personally. But regardless, if he winds up fighting Wilder and he wins, then you got Fury versus Whyte. If Wilder wins, you got Wilder versus Whyte. The winner of that fight, okay, should fight AJ for unification. If AJ should beat Pulev and should beat Usyk, because that's his, that's his two mandatories. But at the same time, in between all of that, we have to look at who earned the shot and who's there. We can't just go, well, I don't like him. I'd rather see it's fights I would rather see, but we're talking about who deserves what. Okay, enough on that. Another thing I want to address, because this is something I kind of spoke about it probably like 30, 40 videos ago, but it was brought to my attention. And I feel where you're coming from, man. I feel you. You know who you are. I ain't going to do the name thing because I know you're on different channels and whatever. You got the trolls out here that's, you told me the situation. But let me say this, okay? You saw what I showed you earlier. So you see the evidence. But I want to put this out here for everybody else. It was said to me about how people don't respond to their subscribers, right? And it's like they keep sending messages, hey man, good work, nice content, yada yada, and they don't respond. Okay, let me say it like this. It's possible when a person has a whole lot of messages, it's not about them responding to every message, okay? This is where they insult your intelligence. Nobody expect you to have like 1,000 comments and expect you to just sit down and read every comment one by one all at once, okay? That can happen, okay? And then the person can have a busy schedule. I get that. But a lot of this is nothing but ego, arrogance, and they don't respond to you until you disagree with something that they say, which I showed you earlier, okay? Because basically, if you're too busy and it's like, well, yo, I get all these, messages and I don't have time for all, why is it you only respond when somebody don't agree with you? So earlier I did that. I showed you. I said, let me show you something. I'll give you an example. And if I say something to a person, I'm not really looking for a response, to be honest with you. I'm not. Whenever you go on YouTube and you see that you have a message, okay, then you see what the message is. I don't even remember I gave you the message, sent the message until later. I'm not looking for a response, to be honest with you. Now, you respond, and then a lot of times it's people you communicate with, and hey, you get cool. It's like, hey, all right, that's my dude here on YouTube. We good. But what happened is, a lot of these arrogant people, what they do, they go around, and this is mostly the guys that go to, the gyms and they want to nut hug certain fighters, and ask stupid ass questions and stuff that we done heard a million fucking times, and then, oh, it's to educate the person. Yeah, we know all that. We get all that dumb shit. The point, what we're talking about is for you to even add the way you even ask the questions, like a little kid waiting for permission. Mom, is it okay if I go play? They don't even know how to ask questions. They won't. Hey, Mom, I'm gonna go over here, right? And whatever. No, it's like you just ask it, and then when certain fighters bash other fighters that you never interview, you try to talk slick about them and say little sideways shit. So you're not no fucking angels just because you got a lot of followers on your channel. Now, hey, kudos to you. But what happened is this. Go on a guy's channel. He does a video and it's like, hey, man, good work, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I like the video. No response. No problem. I don't care. Second time, same thing. And this is like months and months apart. Not just like, I'm not even back to back. Just, no. Another video. Hey, good video, bro. Like that. No response. Another video. Yo, solid, like this video. No response. The second you say, you know what, that was a stupid question. Oh, well, how come blah, blah. Oh, ooh. See, you don't respond to the shout-outs or the positive shit. You respond when a person doesn't agree with you. At the same time, right? Whether you direct the question to them or not, the fact that you don't agree with something that they say or you critique something that they said, all of a sudden now they're not busy. They respond. Cool. It just goes to show you what I'm saying. The same energy that you don't have, that low negative, that oh, I don't respond to what, yeah, have that same energy when somebody don't agree with you or critique your shit. Why? Because if you're so busy that, oh, nah, man, I can't see everything because, right, then you go back and look and realize the same person shouted you, gave you props, and you completely ignore it. But then when they don't agree with you, oh, now you respond. So my suggestion, my good brother, is, you know what, man? Fuck them. Don't shout them out. Whether you stay subscribed, or whether you unsubscribe to them or whatever, that's on you. But stop shouting them out. I showed you that earlier. All simple, just simple, a simple critique, because it's like, you know, back in the day, right? You know, remember the rapper Big Daddy Kane? Remember, everybody asked the same questions. Every fucking damn near every interview. So how'd you start rapping, Kane? What got you into rapping, Kane? And then the interviewer would say some shit like, yeah, I just seen the interview you did with such and such. And then you ask the same fucking questions that the last interviewer asked them. So how are you educating the people who might not know? Because every different person has a different following. I get that, asshole. But guess what? At the same time, it's not like this is going to be something that's going to give a plethora of knowledge to fighters coming up. And no, that's not what this was. You understand what I'm saying? It's just as simple as I said. A simple critique, they respond. But when you're giving props and shout-outs, they don't respond. So you know what you do? Get it. Let them have their channel. Let them do whatever. And it's like, look, a lot of people are like this. And you see this on social media. If you look at a person's list of who's talking to them in the comments, as long as you're kissing their ass and doing this to them, they like what you're saying. But when you don't, and let's say you comment, but you're not kissing their ass about it, they won't respond. It's the same shit. And a lot of these guys think because they walk around here hopping up on a ring apron or running around getting interviews, that makes them fucking special. No, it don't make you special. Kudos to you for... No, I don't care to fucking chase these grown-ass men around. That's your business. What y'all do, who do it. You run your channel how you want. You do whatever. But I showed you. And I said, look, I'm going to show you how simple these motherfuckers' egos are and how they full of shit. And what did I tell you? Keep your $10. I was just fucking with you. And I said, $10 bet. And you're like, all right, we're on, right? Barking out with you, having some fun with you. But you see how quick that response came back to defend himself, right? But I guarantee, like I said, go back and look. He go back in his own little chat and look. Damn. Oh, this motherfucker was actually shouting me out before. How come I didn't see? No, you saw it, motherfucker. That's what I'm saying to you. Move on. It's not serious at all. Small thing. Another thing. The politics in boxing, we know they've always been there. They always will be. Okay? But as long as we have people who accept this crooked shit and also create it, it's just going to be history repeating itself. The changes that we need to have to happen all across the board where people see fairness. They see the effort there. They see that people are not going to tolerate, you know, this glass ceiling bullshit, blowing smoke up people's asses. As long as that shit goes on and it's accepted and people are benefiting from it, you know, people you're gonna keep getting the same thing. You know, if you like this fighter and someone like this fighter, and this fighter gets through with politics, and they complain because this fighter is fighting his ass off, right? And then all of a sudden this fighter gets to a certain point, he starts getting through the politics. Well, instead of the people on this side and this side critiquing both, They're going to back this fighter and they're going to back this fighter. And instead, you're going to have us against them versus instead of going, no. If you're a boxing fan, it should be easier for you to do that. When you are a fan of a boxer, it's harder because most boxing fans are biased towards the fighter that they like. So I'm standing here telling you guys, again, I want to see Anthony Joshua win whenever he fights. That's the heavyweight that I like. You know, I like him as a fighter. I don't know him personally. I don't need to know him personally. Okay? I don't want to sit there and take pictures with him and, hey, I met Anthony. He's a human being. Just like me, just like anybody else. I'm not starstruck. I don't care about that shit. He's in a professional boxing that I happen to have a love for. So that's what that is, and I like him as a fighter. But no, I don't think he should get a unification with Tyson Fury before Dillian Whyte gets his shot. Now, if Tyson Fury beats Dillian Whyte, then hey. But if Dillian Whyte should beat Tyson Fury, his stock goes up. His stock goes up. Now, you're going to have people that's going to try to critique it and say, oh, Tyson Fury was a hype job. Wait. Don't call him that. Because when he just beat Deontay Wilder, y'all praised him. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, if Tyson Fury wins, okay, then we get the fight, the unification fight that we wanted. And should it have to happen in Eddie Hearn's backyard or in an empty arena, so be it. But it needs to happen. These fights should happen. So, you know, everything that we're talking about with, you know, with the politics in boxing and fairness, it has to go all across the board. We can't just go sprinkle a little bit here, sprinkle a little bit over each fighter that we like personally and ignore other fighters. We can't do it like that. We have to be fair about it, and we have to have an understanding that, look, man, we're not going to always get things exactly the way we want it. Me, I don't make a big deal out of it, man. My life is not built on trying to live vicariously through other people or being not a fan of anybody's. Like I said, there's certain fighters I like, there's certain things I like, I respect, I appreciate. I don't go pumping my fists and wearing people's names on my shirt and wearing their faces. That's not me. That's not what I do. I'm not walking around taking pictures with these guys. I don't care to do that. Now, they're human beings just like me. You understand what I'm saying? Just like you. They're no better than we are. We're all people. But at the same time, it's just a lot of robotic, you know, shit going on where everybody feel like, well, you're supposed to say this or you're supposed to act that way or you're supposed to do that because, no, we're not. We should be honest with ourselves and, you know, have to understand there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes where, you know, like I said, this fighter's fans is going to say that this fighter is ducking this fighter and vice versa. A lot of times we don't even know what's going on. We don't know. We only know what we hear. And I say we don't know what's going on because a lot of times people tell you what they want you to know. And that's about it. So we can only go by the information that we get. But when we start making up these scenarios in our head and we start saying that this should happen, that should happen, or this guy's this, I'm not into all that petty name calling bullshit and making accusations that I have no proof of. But at the end of the day, a lot of people, they're going to do this. They're going to clickbait you. They're going to tell you things and make things seem like it's something that it's not, or try to make more out of a situation. And it's really not that serious. But when you use your common sense and understand that, you know what, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We're not there to see what happens. And, you know, to get attention, yeah, people will let you think a whole lot of things. As long as it's building up some kind of attention to a fighter or to a situation, they feel like, you know that old saying, right? All press is good press. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And we have a lot of fighters out here who don't get paid a lot of money, who's struggling, who's fighting tough fight after tough fight, and they have losses on their records, and people are saying that they're bums because they have losses. No, they're bums. They're not bums. They have losses because they're fighting the tough fighters. Their careers are not being pushed right where they can tough fight, soft touch, tough fight, soft touch, tough fight, soft touch. You know, you're not going to have a stacked division and every champion is going to have a stellar challenger. I mean, you fighting who's there. You know what I'm saying? And money is an issue because this is how these guys eat, how they feed their families. They don't get a pension. They don't get Social Security from this, nothing. It's the money that they make. So for every fighter that make it, think about the fighters that don't make it. The guys that we all, oh, he's a bum, he ain't shit. Think about all of those guys who they're boxers, but they have to have a job, a full-time job, because they're not making real money with boxing. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Everybody don't have the same fortune. But people are so judgmental about fighters. Like, you know, we talked about Andy Ruiz. Let me say this about Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a solid fighter. Bob Arum, you know, said we got rid of the guy because the guy couldn't punch, you know, and this guy had no power, knocks out Anthony Joshua. He's trying to make AJ look bad. But basically, that's Bob Arum running his mouth, talking shit. If Andy Ruiz would have, let's say a deal, something worked out, and let's just say he beat AJ in that rematch, and let's say now he's unified champ, and let's just say he had another, like, boom, his stock just boom. This guy's popularity is crazy. You don't know what Bob Arum would say? And let's say they wanted to work out a deal with Bob Arum, and he would, you know, he's a much improved fighter now. He's way better than what he was before, and I'm glad to have him back. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It's just like watching, you know, the Chicago Bulls beat everybody, and, you know, they rival a lot of teams. And I remember, like, New York Knicks fans, out of everybody that they played, probably New York Knicks fans was like, had the most animosity towards the Bulls. Man, if fucking Michael Jordan left the Bulls and went to the fucking Knicks, do you think that they would be like, oh, nah, man, we don't want MJ. Man, please. That's just how it goes. That's the bullshit that goes along with boxing, with sports in general. People mindsets are set on, well, I want to control the narrative of how people see this person or that person. Andy Ruiz is a solid fucking fighter. He got fast hands. He can box. He has slow feet. He doesn't know how to cut off a ring. That doesn't mean he's not a solid fighter. Okay? Every fighter has had something. They've made mistakes and they've had fights they didn't look as sharp even though they won. Andy Ruiz is no pushover. He's a legitimate fighter. He's a former world champion. Regardless, I don't like all the excuses and things that people make for try to shoot fighters down. There's no need to shoot him down. What Andy Ruiz lacks, what we've seen, is the discipline. Now, he said that he's training with Canelo in that camp, and hopefully that, you know, things get better. Well, here's the thing. Andy Ruiz is no bum. He's a solid guy. But the things that we see that he needs, like him being short, he has to constantly be getting in. He has to develop that where I can get underneath that jab, I can get around it. He doesn't have that. He hasn't. And even the comparison with him and Tyson, if you notice, one major difference that you see between the two of them, Andy Ruiz fights straight up. If you watch him, he's straight up. Mike was, you know, Mike was down low on you. Mike was coming in. Mike get on, you know. Andy Ruiz fights straight up. He's, you know, he stands. He's not a tall guy. He stands the way a tall guy's supposed to stand. And part of that, you know, he doesn't have the spring in his legs. He doesn't have that mobility, you know, he doesn't have that. That's something he has to learn to do. You don't just see somebody do it, copy it, oh, I got it. No. You have to be comfortable doing these things. It's one thing to do it even in training, but you have to be comfortable that I know how to slip, make him pay. You know, he doesn't have that. He comes forward. Mike came forward. But Andy doesn't have that kind of attack. He's a counterpuncher. You know what I mean? Andy throws when you're not doing shit. You know, he doesn't mind exchanging. His hands is much faster than everybody else's. I've said that in the last video. But these are the things that people are not understanding when they're saying, you know, this fighter should be doing this and this. Look, when these old trainers get old and die, a lot of their teachings die with them. New styles, new day. Hey, look, listen to hip-hop music. Think about when rappers had that verbal assault and they would just, no matter what they were talking about, the lyrics was just, now it's not about that. It's about the vibe. Most of the songs don't even, a lot of these rappers got one verse and the rest is just ad-libs and auto-tunes and, you know what I'm saying? A lot of harmonizing. It's different. So to compare the two is not even necessary. You understand what I'm saying? So when you have these fighters that the old school teachings start to go away, yeah, you know what worked, and you know that a lot of guys are getting away from these things, which is, but don't get it twisted. There was no era of time where there was perfect fighters. Every era, I can go through any era, and we could sit down and break fights down, and you can see the many mistakes that legendary fighters right now have made even in their primes. But, you know, one thing that I will say that I see a lot of, way too much of, is tall guys. I've been saying this and I'll keep saying it until I see a difference in it. Tall guys fighting short guys, instead of being out here, they're right here. And they're wondering why the fight was harder than it needs to be. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on this video. I will catch y'all on the next one.